Hi everyone, this is me Shruti and you are watching my channel Shruti Talks. Today we are going to revise all the topics that we discussed in all these classes. I think a quick and smart revision is very necessary for my students. Then only they can score high in their examinations. Today I am focusing on revision. Let us start. The topic we learned in the chapter Adaptation in Plants is the term adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation is change. Some change. Something changed. Some change happened to someone. So adaptation is what? Adaptation is the change in the body or behavior of an organism that help that organisms to survive in that environment. So adaptation is the change. Okay, the next topic we learned about habitat, the natural home. We all are having home. So animals also or plants also have their own homes. So the natural home of any organism is known as its habitat. The next we learned the two types of plants. What are they? Aquatic plants and terrestrial plant. Aquatic. Aqua means water. The plants that are growing in water are aquatic plants. The plants that are growing on land are known as terrestrial plants. And we learned these different kinds of habitats. Let us discuss. The forest habitat, the coastal region, the grassland, hilly areas, marshes and desert habitat. All these habitats we discussed. Let us have a quick revision to all these topics. First, about desert habitat. The plants that are growing in the desert are known as xerophytes. Example for a xerophytic plant is cactus, acacia and date palm. Now we are going to discuss about the adaptational features of a cactus plant. Cactus have spines. These spines for reducing transpiration. Next, they have succulent stem. These succulent stem are for storing large amount of water in their body. And what about the roots in cactus plant? They have deep root so that they can absorb water from the very deep under the soil. So all these points you need to remember. Okay. Now we are moving to marshy land or habitat in the marshy areas. In the marshy land, the plants growing in these areas are mangrove trees. Mangrove trees. So in mangrove trees, you can see special root called breathing roots or pneumatophores or knee roots. Okay. So what are these breathing roots? In the marshy land, the air spaces present between the soil particle is very less. Or otherwise, you can say the oxygen level in the marshy land is very less. So the plants that are growing in these areas, they need to develop or grow special roots. Then only they can breathe. So what are breathing roots? Mangrove plant cannot breathe under the soil. So they develop special roots above the soil for breathing. These kind of roots are known as breathing roots. This is the image of a cactus plant and these are the pneumatophores or the breathing roots. Now we are moving to hilly areas. In the hilly areas, we need to remember climate is cold to extremely cold. And the plants that are growing in these areas are pine, fir, cedar and spruce. Now we are moving to discuss about the adaptational features of the pine tree. This is the pine tree. The first adaptational feature is they have conical shape. Why do they need this conical shape? because this shape helps them to drain the water easily from the leaves. The next point is the second point. Their leaves are needle shaped, just like this. This is the image of the leaf of this pine tree. Their leaf is needle shaped and they are tough and coated with wax for protection from the cold conditions. The third point is their branches are hanging downward. Look at this picture. You can see the branch. They are hanging downward. These hanging branches for reducing the transpiration. The last point is they have deep root. Why do they need these deep root? Because they are living in the cold climate and in this area may receive a strong wind always blowing in this area. So they need to withstand against the cold strong winds. That is why they have deep root system. All these points you need to remember for your examinations. They have conical shape and their leaves are needle shaped with waxy coating, and their branches are hanging downwards and their root system is very deep root system they have. And the examples fir, cedar, pine and spruce. And the next topic we learned, that was I think the coastal regions. In the coastal regions, the plants growing in these areas are coconut, pepper, rubber. In coastal regions, the special thing is they receive high rainfall and the water in these areas are salty. Okay, these 2 points you need to remember. And one more thing, the plants that are growing in the coastal regions, they do not shed their leaves in winter. Okay, that point you need to remember. The next topic we learned about the grassland. In the grassland, you can see ryegrass and foxtail. These are the 2 examples for the plants that are growing in the grassland. In the grassland, they receive very less amount of rainfall. So, we cannot tree much trees in these grasslands because of this less amount of rainfall. And some important things related to the roots of these grasses. They make the soil rich in nutrients and they make the soil particle or hold the soil particle together, and also they make the soil suitable for farming. So these 3 points you need to remember. They hold the soil particle together so that they prevent soil erosion. They make the soil rich in nutrients and they make the soil suitable for farming. Okay, now we are moving to our next topic, that is the plants that are growing in the forest areas. In the forest areas we can see that these are the trees or the plants that you can see in these areas. What are they? The mahogany tree, rosewood, sandalwood and orchid. The speciality or adaptations in these areas are the plants that are growing in these areas have special roots because the soil in these areas are in the forest is shallow soil. Okay. Due to this shallow soil, the plants they need special roots, then only they can stand firmly on this soil. That is why they have special roots. And one more thing, the forest plants have waxy coated leaves and their leaf tips are pointed. Pointed leaf tips and waxy coated leaf because in this area may receive high rainfall. So the water they need to drain the water easily from the leaves. That is why they have waxy coating and leaf tips are pointed. Okay, now we are moving to the plants that are growing in the plain areas. In the plain area, the climate is moderate. Moderate means neither too cold nor too hot. So in these areas we can see evergreen trees and deciduous trees. So you remember what are deciduous trees and what are evergreen trees. Evergreen, the tree remain green throughout the year. Example for evergreen trees are coconut, mango and banyan tree. And deciduous trees, they shed their leaves in the winter. Why do they shed their leaves? Because this is a kind of protection. This is a kind of adaptation. Okay, they need to protect themselves from the winter. That is why they shed their leaves in winter times. In the springs, they grow new leaves. So deciduous trees are the trees, they shed their leaves in the winter. Example for deciduous trees are peepal, gulmohar, sheesham and teak. These are the example for the plants that are growing in the plants that are included in the deciduous category. These are the points we discussed in the chapter Adaptations in Plant. You can take out all these lecture notes from my videos, and if you have any doubts you can ask me in the comment box. Okay, I think all the topic is very clear for you all. Now I am going to wind up my today's class. Let us see you in our next classes. So bye then.